Hello everyone, Don here with the latest update on the repairs and upgrades to my War Corsair project. As you can see, I got the canopy mounted on the frame and trimmed. Didn't have much to go by as far as mounting this thing, because the previous owner that had this thing originally had pre-trimmed it to fit the frame, but the issue is the front should be flush, but the back should hang out some and the bottom should overhang, and they trimmed it pretty close, so I had to play with the thing, fudge it left and right just to get it to be close to where I could finish trimming it. I did trim off, like here's a piece how crooked the trim was on this. Goes from that thickness down to that thickness. That was one piece. Here's the other piece. This was just one side was that far off compared to the other side. So as you can see, yesterday, Saturday, I ended up mixing up all the slurry to do that. So I got that done. And this was where it was kind of shallow, so I built that up. This is like a 3-to-1 ratio of microballoons to epoxy by volume. And then I took the inside and I sanded everything down, so these seams, you can't feel them, they're smooth. And then I took some thinner slurry and I just squeegeed it in there to fill all the pores essentially, so there's not much texture left inside of this thing. So that's done. I want to give that a couple days to set up and cure. Yesterday, Saturday, it was like 70 degrees. And then here's the bottom section. Same thing here. This didn't need very much, just a very slight thin coat. So then I still have to sand this all down. And then on the back edge I mixed up that cotton flocks I mentioned. That stuff is like concrete when it sets. So all this whole back edge, I took this Dremel with a bit, like so, this little burr. I went in there and I burred out the styrofoam that was exposed, because this was originally all out to here, and I cut this open to make some vents, and then my cowl flaps are going to come on here, you know, and come around. So that's all nice and hard now. Everything's repaired on that again. Same thing on the inside. Did a thin slurry mix, filled it all in, so that all needs to be kind of lightly sanded. I tried to come out with my other camera, my little GoPro, Chinese GoPro, but the damn battery dead. It came on, but the battery showed no power, and it went off after about 15 seconds. But I prefer using that because it's got much of a better wide angle on it. This is not a wide angle camera. This is a high zoom camera, so it's hard to record close-up stuff with this. But that's where I'm at with those. So like I said, I want to give those a couple days, sand them out, and then is basically be ready to either do a little epoxy wipe on it to make sure all the pores and any scratches or pinholes will fill in with the microballoons. This is all pretty good now, so, but hopefully I can just get away with sanding it and a good filler primer, sandable filler primer. So throw that on the floor. So then the canopy, after mounting it, as you can see, I ended up sanding the whole thing down because there was fine scratches in it, scuff marks, and believe it or not, most of the scratches were on the inside. I couldn't believe how much of the scuffing and scratching was on the inside. So what I ended up using was, I had bought a, where's the drill? I bought a headlight buffing thing to take care of the yellow buffing. This was all part of a kit. It came with this little foam pad, Velcros on these little real super fine pads, and so that's what I've been using to go in and knock down internal external scratches. So it's all done. So after I thought I had it all sanded out, the only thing I got that's even close to being a polishing compound is this, and this is for paint. It's not for plexiglass. But I figured I'd give it a try, and it worked a little bit, but as I worked on it I could still see, there's still some scratches in there. It's beautifully smooth right now. You can't even feel it. It's such fine scuffs from that paper. Then on top of that, this is what I got, the foam pad. This has gotten snagged on stuff when I was doing the headlights, but I used this with this and left it wet, and try to see how it polished out. So there's a couple different grits of paper to use here. This stuff was from where I used to work. I used to do Hymax countertops. It's a plastic type thing that looks like granite and quartz and such, but you can get in all kinds of colors, and we used to use this material to polish it out and then bring it to a kind of a semi-gloss. You don't really want to buff them because they scratch too easy and it's too easy to see, but I'm pretty sure I got all the major scratches out of this thing inside and out. There's still one little one right there I can see. I can't feel them. Some of those are on the inside. The frame's going to cover up some of this anyway. I might get lucky in that old frame down there. That frame for the old Canopy might still fit, but this thing slopes more this way. The other one was flatter back here, and then the front came down, was flatter, but I'll see if it fits. I did end up using the original holes. So this is ready to polish. I just got to find me a decent polish material. I can still see some slight scratches, but those are on the inside, so I got to hit them. I took the dog for a walk and gave this a good opportunity to dry. Sorry for the camera, but it doesn't want to focus on that fog. But I got to polish the whole thing inside and out. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like I said, I spent the day today mounting this, drilling it, trimming it, took it all off, sanded the edges nice and clean, put it all back on, and then I started doing all the sanding and polishing. And there was a nice big blem. It wasn't a blem, it was over the years this thing's been moved around. Something had laid on this in transit when they were probably going cross country with this thing project, and it chafed. It was a real smooth depression, and it was wobbly or a little wavy, and so that was the first thing I did, is I sanded that down. I can barely tell that there was anything there. I can feel just a very slight depression. It was good size, you know, it was like that big. But that came out good. You can't see it no more. It's nice and clean. Had a nice day yesterday. It was 70, about 70 or so. Today it's been pushing 60s, well into the 60s. So right now it's just windy. I just finished walking the dog while I waited for this to dry. But I want to hit these last little scratches that I found in the inside here. So. But you can see the shine on that right there. You can see, I mean, it's nice and smooth. Now I just got to get it so it's clear again. So otherwise you can't flour that. All right, I think that's basically all I wanted to do. I was looking to maybe get into the tail wheel, but this ended up taking more time than I anticipated. All these holes for the screws, I still have to countersink them. These ones, you know, like I said, are going straight in, even though this thing is angled. But once I put that trim on there, they'll kind of sit more in the trim. I'll countersink all these at the same angle that the screw is, so the screw can at least kind of go back in. That trim has a piece of foam mat underneath it. It was that matting you'd buy to put inside your drawers on your toolboxes there for the tools to keep from clattering. It's a real thin black foam pad. So I got that on the back side of that aluminum trim that I put on here. So between the trim and that padding and some countersinking of the trim, which is already countersink, and then countersink these holes a little bit, that shouldn't be a problem. They're not going to stick up like that on the finished product. So, but otherwise, this thing did come out nice. Now it's just going to take some time to get all the swirl scratches out of it, but it's smooth. It was all wet sanded too. That's what all the water's here for. And I had a bottle of soap water, so I'd spray that on there and grind away on it, and then I'd take the washcloth and wipe off the soapy water, let her dry, and then inspect it real close. But yeah, there's still, I can just see those. I don't know if you can see them or not. There's a scratch right there, one there, little one there. But those are all on the inside. I cannot feel them out here. I can feel it on the inside. That was probably something they were doing, but this whole thing was all scratched up in there. So just a little more, I think we're good to go. I think there was one tiny little scratch somewhere in the front that I want to hit on the outside. So, all right, I'm just going to keep this one sweet. Next time you see me next week, maybe maybe Tuesday night I'll have some more done, get this all sanded out or something. But I can't, I need to buy the primer, and right now I just don't have the cash. I'm still catching up on some bills. So I did work all last week as well, so made some money, but it's never enough. Never enough. Alright, I think that's going to do it for this update. So, as always, appreciate everyone taking the time to watch these videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. Appreciate the ones that people are leaving now. They seem to have kind of dried up, so I will maybe get up here again by Tuesday night and do another quick one. So, if I get anything done as far as finding me a material to polish this thing back out to a nice clear canopy again. So you can see here it's clear where you can't get in there with the sander because of the frame. It's easier to sand it with that on the frame because that thing is just too flimsy. And then I plan on throwing that whole thing in the oven when I'm done, and I'm going to take it through a annealing cycle to let it fit to my frame, because it fit really well. It just kind of rooster tailed out here in the front, so it's under some tension right here on the corners, front corners. So, but I'll throw it in the oven and help anneal it. But otherwise I got to find a decent polish that'll work with acrylic plexiglass. So, okay everyone, thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So for now, this is Diner Don out.